Hola, hola, my name is Ramon, cosmetic chemist, esthetician, lover of Korean sunscreens, and today we're actually talking about a recently launched sunscreen that I've been testing on the back end for a minute now, and actually low-key, I got a chance to consult on this sunscreen in the earlier phases of development when I was in Korea, so disclosure, I did consult on this, but it's non-sponsored, this wasn't his PR. As always, this is an objective opinion, just because you see the footage on screen, why lie? So today we're talking about the Purito Daily Soft Touch Sunscreen SPF 50+, PA4+. So this is their second sunscreen launch post Purito Gate, Sunscreen Gate. This one, compared to the other one, this one's intended for more normal to oily skin. The first one, the Daily Go-To, that is a very radiant sunscreen. That is glowy. This is intended to be better suited for oily skin, and that is not going to give you as much glow, as much radiance, but you'll see that application footage on screen. As with all my chemical sunscreen reviews, I'm going to be using my 6Fs testing rubric, where we talk about the feel, finish, filters, formulation, foundation wear, and fragrance. As always, I'll have timestamps down below so you can go to whatever part of the video you want to see most. And for all my sunscreen reviews, as always, I always measure the amount of sunscreen I need to wear for my face based off the measurements for my face. If you want to know how much sunscreen you should be wearing, I'll put a card up here for you. But I use my scale, and I also use a little 1/4 teaspoon measuring spoon so I can see visually what volume the sunscreen takes up as well. So let's get into it. Let's first talk about the marketing. So the claims of this is it's a vegan hypoallergenic sunscreen that protects your skin against harmful UV rays with its broad spectrum SPF 50+, PA4+. Infused with 5 types of ceramides and tocopherol, which is vitamin E, it strengthens skin barrier by protecting it from external stressors and keeps skin hydrated by locking in moisture. The formula contains Centella asiatica extract to calm and soothe sensitive and irritated skin. This sunscreen is suitable for oily and combination skin with a fast absorbing formula that leaves a matte finish with no white cast. So yeah, notes they say for oily combination skin, non-sticky formula, no white cast, matte finish. So getting into it, let's start with the feel of this. So when this comes out, this is a gel sunscreen. It's a nice lightweight texture. This is a gel sunscreen. It's light on the skin. It sets down fairly quickly. It works in very easily. I don't have to do a lot of elbow work to like really work it in, and it's not like a difficult to work with sunscreen. And it's nicely moisturizing on the skin. This gives me like a lightweight gel cream moisturizer vibe. So it's nice on the skin. I don't find it to be very greasy. I agree with them. I think that it does set down quickly and that it doesn't really leave a greasy finish. In terms of the finish on the skin, so they claim matte. And I'm gonna be real with you, I do not think this is a matte sunscreen. Do I think it's a better option for oily skin than their other one? Yes. And I've seen other reviews from this, like my friend Rashawn, aka Glow Skin Guy on Instagram. He reviewed this and he was like, this is not matte. It gives you a nice, natural, radiant, like moisturized glow, more suitable for oily skin. Like your skin's gonna look refreshed, but it's not matte by any means. And he lives in Central Florida where it's very hot and humid. So definitely worth noting. I do not think this is a matte finish, but again, for me, I find this gives a nice glow to the skin. After a couple hours though, I do have to powder. Like I find myself, I'm like, oh, I'm a little bit too glowy for what I would like. And so that is one thing worth noticing. And I'll touch on that a little bit more in the formulation part. Getting to the filters of this. So this is one of the bigger things when I consulted with this that I was like, ugh. So this has Evenol A+, Evenol T150, Tinosorb S, and Tinosorb M, which if you're not aware, Tinosorb M is by definition a chemical sunscreen filter. It has carbon in its structure. That's what a chemical sunscreen is. But it's an insoluble particle. So it doesn't dissolve in its vehicle. It stays as a solid particle. And because of that, Tinosorb M has the potential to leave a white cast on deeper skin tones. And when I was testing this in their lab, I got to meet, so backstory, I got to go to meet their development team, their chemist team. Purito has actually a whole chemist team now. They have a lab space in their corporate office. And I got to meet their lab manager. I got to tour the lab and see like they got a whole setup. They got stability chambers. They got the capabilities of measuring SPF in vitro. So I got to see a demo of them doing that. And I got to see some of the other stuff they're developing. Like they got all the equipment. And so this was actually developed by Purito's chemist team. When I was trying it out and testing it with the product development head and their marketing team, my first thought and my first comment was, what are the filters? They told me Tinosorb M, and I was like, why? And I gave them the whole rundown. I'm like, the issue with Tinosorb M is because of A, B, C, and D. It's not going to be the best solution necessarily for deeper skin tones. Look at what's happening with all the Colmar sunscreens. And they're like, okay, well, we'll note that. And truthfully, and to elaborate on if this is black skin friendly, it is. My friend Julian tried it out. Scamanda14 on Instagram. Truthfully, on him, it looks amazing. His only qualm, if I remember correctly, was just that it creases in his eyelids because again, this has an insoluble particle, Tinosorb M, but it doesn't leave honestly any substantial cast on him, which is a good thing. That is worth noting. But yeah, so it has Tinosorb M. It's not a Colmar sunscreen. Purito developed it. I gave my feedback when I was with them. So, but going off some of the other formulation points, this is alcohol, fragrance, and essential oil free. This does have Centella and vitamin E as they mentioned. This also has alpha bisabolol, which that's technically an extract from chamomile, I believe. But fun fact, if I'm not mistaken, this might be an ingredient that I was going to feature in my sun stick with Beauty of Joseon, because if I'm not mistaken, they are saying that this helps to brighten skin tone. Alpha bisabolol, also known as alpha malate, is an ingredient that can fade the appearance of pigmentation. I took it out of my sunscreen because it made the texture too oily, which I did not want, but they have it in here, which is interesting. They also have panthenol, glycerin, and ceramiding cholesterol, as they mentioned, and those are great for moisture barrier function. This really feels like this is a SPF meant for their dermide line, their dermide moisturizers, which I really enjoy, just because of those claims and the texture and feel on the skin. But my thing is with the alpha bisabolol, the vitamin E, the ceramiding cholesterol, I think that's part of the reason why this has more of a glow than being so matte as they're claiming. But also there's no silica in this, which, as we know with Mice and Stick, silica is a mattifying powder. And so I think if they would have had that, it would have been more matte, but it would have left more of a cast. So this goes back to one of those, you got to pick and choose your battles when it comes to, I want it to be hyper matte, but I need it to look great on deeper skin tones, you know? But overall, I think this is actually very similar to the texture that I tested when I was with the Purito team. And so I think they did take notes. This is much more improved than when I did test it out in the lab, because when I tested it with them, I had a really bad situation in my beard. And I was like, this is the issue with Tenosorb M. And they were like, oh, okay. Also worth noting, this is not sting my eye area or my eyes at all. And also this is not water and sweat resistant. So next F is foundation wear. When it comes to foundation, I think this preps skin beautifully for makeup, preps the skin great. It's nicely moisturizing, but lightweight. When I wear this with makeup, my makeup doesn't pill. I have no texture issues. I have no wear issues throughout the day. Like, this preps the skin great for makeup. No issues, no cast that affects the makeup either. So if you have oily skin, I think this is a great option for makeup prep, but just know it's not like a mattifying primer of sunscreen. And then fragrance, again, this is alcohol, fragrance, and essential oil free. I don't think there's a smell to this, truthfully. Yeah, I'm not picking up a smell. And when I put this on in the morning, so this is like one of the sunscreen that just lives by my sink when I go to work, I don't recall it having a smell. It doesn't even smell like sunscreen, honestly. So that is worth noting. So fragrance free and it has no smell, so it's a plus. So with that, that's my review of the Purito Daily Soft Touch Sunscreen. Again, I don't think this is matte, unfortunately. I think it's a better solution for oily skin, and having oily skin, I really enjoy the texture and feel of this, but I do end up having to powder with this. I don't have a cast issue. I don't even have issues with it in my beard or hairline or anything. I've seen this look beautiful on deep skin tones as well, so that's something worth noting as well. And yeah, overall, I think it's a really good option from them. I just want to know if they are going to come out with like a matte option. But as I mentioned in the formulation section, when it comes to creating really matte textures, you compromise some other elements. I think this is definitely something worth trying if you do enjoy Purito's options. I like the ingredients that are in this. Having some more sensitive skin, especially as I'm still in my Tret journey. Like I'm still battling the whole Tret situation. This is nice to have in my arsenal just because I don't feel like it stings my skin even on my most sensitive skin days, like after I shave, for example. So definitely a plus. I do really enjoy this, and high key, it's just one that I reach for most often right now because it lives by my sink. But yeah, let me know in the comment section, have you tried this new Purito sunscreen? How do you think it compares to their daily go-to sunscreen? And don't forget to hit the subscribe button and notification bell so that you know when I post more skincare, sunscreen, and Fenty related content on my channel. Give the video a thumbs up, and thanks for watching, guys. Bye.